In 1978, President Kimball's effort to take the blessings of the church to all people took its lengthiest stride.
When you think about life and the brethren saying there is a time and season for all things, and that's scriptural. You look around today, why didn't we have trains and buses and airplanes 200 years ago? Men had intelligence then, but we didn't invent those things. There's just a time that God allows knowledge to flow, and it doesn't come until the right time comes.
In the early months of 1978, President Kimball spent many hours alone in the Salt Lake Temple, praying fervently concerning the question of priesthood eligibility.
I remember very vividly the day after day that I walked over to the temple. I knelt and prayed. And I prayed with such fervency, I tell you. I knew that something was before us that was extremely important to many of the children of God.
My personal belief is this: it couldn't have come 50 years earlier. It couldn't have come during the time Martin Luther King was marching. It couldn't have come during the time of Joseph Smith, because people were not ready for it at that time.
By springtime, he began discussing with his counselors and the 12 the possibility of lifting the restrictions.
During one such meeting in the upper room of the temple, Elder LeGrand Richards told his brethren that President Woodruff had been sitting there in the meeting with them. Now, the significance of that is easy to understand when you recognize that President Woodruff was the one who had received the revelation for the major policy change regarding plural marriage in the church.
And finally, we've had the feeling, and we had the impressions from the Lord, who made them very clear to us that this was the thing to do, to make the gospel universal to all worthy people.
When he finally did receive the revelation, it's remarkable to me that he was not satisfied that he be the only one to receive that revelation. He wanted the brethren of the First Presidency and the quorum of the 12 to also have that same revelation.
On June 1st, in the Salt Lake Temple, the First Presidency and the 12 received powerful spiritual confirmation that the priesthood restrictions should be removed. On June 9th, a statement by the First Presidency was approved by all the general authorities, and the revelation allowing all worthy males to receive the priesthood was announced to the world.
In early June of this year, the First Presidency announced that a revelation had been received by President Spencer W. Kimball extending priesthood and temple blessings to all worthy male members of the church.
I just really sort of had to be subdued a little bit. I was really excited. And we started getting phone calls, and my bishop called me after about an hour, and he invited me to come to his office that night for an interview. He interviewed me, and at the end of the interview was probably the most precious time. He looked at me and he said, "Brother Freeman, I've interviewed you to become an elder, but I also interviewed you to go to the temple, and I find you worthy to go into the house of the Lord with your family and be sealed for time and eternity."